Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich into the picture. Let's actually put these two pictures up on the screen, Attorney General, because both of your senators from the great state of Arizona, Kyrsten Sinema, who's not up for re-election this year, and Mark Kelly, who is up for re-election this year, have signed on to legislation saying you can't rescind Title 42 on May the 23rd. We have to delay at least 60 days to try to figure out something to replace it with. The reality is pretty striking.
John, thank you very much for having me on. And let me just begin by saying that I think Mark Kelly represents the interests of the cartels, and that's why we call him Cartel Kelly here, because he has done absolutely nothing to try to prevent Arizonans from being killed and harmed by the border crisis that's occurring. We know the cartels have seized operational control. We've talked about the record amount of fentanyl and methamphetamine flooding in here, the millions of people that have crossed illegally. And the only thing apparently that has gotten his attention and allowed him to finally break with Chuck Schumer is the fact that he probably recognizes that Biden's own estimates, his own administration's estimates, are that once Title 42 is lifted, we will see a record surge, possibly more than 500,000 people illegally trying to enter our country in just 1 month. And those are the optics Mark Kelly's worried about. He's not worried about Arizona or what's going on or how many taxpayer dollars we're spending on this crisis or how many lives are lost. What he's worried about, unfortunately, is his own political future, and shame on him for not caring about Arizonans sooner.
I'm going to put those numbers up on the screen in just a second, and I've got some interesting comparisons for people at home and understand exactly how many people that would be coming across the border. But first of all, you and Missouri and Louisiana are suing the Biden administration, trying to stop them from scrapping Title 42. Now, critics have said, oh, Missouri, Louisiana, you're not border states. Why are you even involved in this? Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely, because what is happening right now on our back door in Arizona is coming to everyone's front door. We are seeing a record amount of drugs, fentanyl, methamphetamine coming into our country. We know that just last year, 100,000 people, John, died from drug and fentanyl opioid overdoses. So this is killing Americans. And when the cartels seize operational control of the border, it's not just them making money off the drugs coming into our country, but it's off smuggling people. So we are empowering the cartels by failing to secure the border, and that is going to make all of our communities less safe.
All right, you mentioned the number of people that are expected to come across the border once Title 42 comes off on May the 23rd, unless, of course, you manage to stop it or the Democrats do. Take a look at this. Number of people coming across the border every day. February of 2022, it was 5,891 people. July of 2021, it was 6,890 per day. Now, Customs and Border Protection is predicting that 18,000 people could come across our border every day at the peak. That is enough people to fill Madison Square Garden every day. It's enough people to fill AT&T Stadium in Dallas every 4 days, and enough people to fill every NFL stadium in the United States over the course of the summer. That's a lot of people.
And it's stressing the system. Not only, do we talk about the costs in human lives and overdoses and crime, but let's not forget, just about 6 weeks ago, I was at the U.S. Supreme Court arguing against the Biden administration for revoking the public charge rule. So what the Democrats have done and what Joe Biden have done is they've not only decriminalized, but they are incentivizing and monetizing people come here. So the hardworking taxpayers, whether you're in Arizona, Louisiana, Missouri, wherever you're at, you will pay a cost in dollars as well, because the Biden administration is having you subsidize their far left, progressive, open border policies. And so, shame on the Democrats in Washington, D.C. I guess they're finally seeing religion, but this is why, John, people can't stand politics and they don't trust D.C. is because these folks have left this gone unchecked for a whole year, millions of people, crime rising, drugs coming into our country. And now, just because they're up for re-election, they're finally going to say something about it. So shame on the Democrats, shame on Chuck Schumer for putting the progressive interests above the interests of hardworking Americans, and shame on Cartel Kelly for kowtowing to Chuck Schumer instead of representing Arizona values.
Well, one thing's for sure, they're getting ready to flood across the border when this thing comes off. No question about that. Mark Brnovich, do us a favor, hang with us. We'd like to maybe come back to you after the White House briefing because we're expecting some questions on all of this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, John.